All living organisms are composed of one or more cells. The cell is the basic unit of structure and organization in organisms. Cells arise from pre existing cells. These three were the principles of cell theory as proposed by Schleiden and Schwann. However, many other scientists, including Virchow, contributed to the theory. The cell theory came forward as an important step in the movement away from spontaneous generation. Virchow's cell theory was encapsulated in the epigram omnis cellula is cellula, which means cells arise from pre existing cells. Later, Robert Remarque discovered that the origin of cells was from division of pre existing cells. His experiments and observations gave explanation to the earlier tests and proofs by Louis Pasteur that there is no spontaneous generation in life. Walter Fleming investigated the process of cell division and the distribution of chromosomes to the daughter nuclei. He was the first person to conduct a systematic study of chromosomes during division, and this process is called mitosis by him. Fleming used dyes to stain cells. He was able to visualize thread like materials as the cells divide. These were later named chromosomes. Wilhelm Roux proposed that chromosomes carried a set of inheritable elements. Longitudinal splitting was observed by Fleming, ensuring equal division of chromosomes. Meanwhile, Mendel's experiments on heritable elements in the pea plant highlighted the central role of chromosomes in carrying heritable material, which is the genetic material. Weizmann proposed the theory of continuity of germplasm, a theory of heredity. In this theory, inheritance in a multicellular organism takes place only by means of germ cells, which are the gametes, the egg cell, and the sperm cell. Other cells do not function as agents of heredity. Theodore Boveri investigated the mechanism of heredity. He developed the chromosomal theory of inheritance. His theory states that chromosomes are the vehicles of genetic heredity. The chemical nature of genetic material was determined by James Watson and Francis Crick. Let us now understand cell division. Cell division is of two types. The one which occurs in all body cells, also called somatic cells. This is called mitosis. Cell division taking place in sex cells or the germ cells is called meiosis. Mitotic division retains the same number of chromosomes, whereas in meiosis, the chromosome number is halved. Let us understand first the cell cycle. The ordered sequence of events that occur in a cell in preparation for cell division is called the cell cycle. It is a four-stage process with G1 phase, S phase, G2, and the M phase. The G1, S, and G2 phase together are known as the interphase. G1 phase is the first gap. This is the linking period between completion of mitosis and synthesis of DNA. Here, the cell is accumulating the required proteins and energy necessary for replicating the chromosomes. The cell size is increased during this period. S phase. This is the period of DNA synthesis leading to duplication of chromosomes. It is by a process called replication. G2 phase is the second gap. Cell organelles are duplicated and the chromosomes prepare for mitosis. Finally, the M phase. This is the mitotic cell division phase. It includes prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, and cytokinesis. It is a type of division in which one cell divides to produce two new cells that are genetically identical to the parent cell. Mitosis is the part of the cell cycle where the DNA of the cell nucleus is split into two equal sets of chromosomes. Just before the cell begins mitosis, the cell is in the interphase and has already copied its DNA. So, the chromosomes in the nucleus each consist of two connected copies called the sister chromatids. At this point, we cannot see the chromosomes very clearly because they are in their decondensed form. At the beginning of mitosis is the prophase. In this stage, the chromosomes start to condense. The mitotic spindle begins to form. Spindles are strong fibers that are a part of the cell's skeleton. Their duty is to organize the chromosomes. There are two centrosomes. Spindles grow between the centrosomes. The nucleolus, a part of the nucleus, disappears. So, this is a sign that nucleus is ready to break down. The chromosome in the late prophase becomes even more condensed and compact. The nuclear envelope breaks down, releasing the chromosomes. Mitotic spindle grows longer and starts to attach to chromosomes. The next phase is the metaphase. In the next phase, that is the metaphase, spindle has captured all the chromosomes and lined them at the middle of the cell. The plane where the chromosomes line up is called the metaphase plate. At this stage, the kinetochore, which is the center of the chromosome, gets attached to the spindles from opposite poles. In the anaphase, the sister chromatids separate from each other and are pulled towards opposite ends of the cell. In the telophase stage, the cell has nearly finished dividing. The mitotic spindle is broken down. Two new nuclei form, one for each set of chromosomes. Nuclear membranes and nucleoli reappear. The chromosomes begin to decondense. Finally, in the cytokinesis, the division of the cytoplasm takes place and two new cells are formed. Let us now understand the meiosis. Meiosis is the process where a single cell divides twice to produce four cells containing half the original amount of genetic information. These cells are the sex cells, sperm in males and egg in females. Meiosis can be divided into meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. Meiosis begins with a parent cell which is diploid, meaning it has two copies of each chromosome. The parent cell undergoes one round of DNA replication. So each homologue consists of two identical sister chromatids. The homologues pair with each other and exchange genetic information by a process called recombination. In the first meiotic division, the homologues are separated into separate daughter cells. The cells then proceed to a second meiotic division, which is identical to mitosis. The sister chromatids are segregated to separate daughter cells to produce four haploid cells with one copy of the genome. These cells develop into gametes. Let us now summarize by looking at some of the major differences between mitosis and meiosis. Mitosis produces two cells from one parent using one division event. Meiosis produces four cells with two divisions, each of which has each cell has half the genetic material of the parent. Mitosis takes place all over the body. Meiosis takes place only in the sex organs. Mitosis has only one stage. Meiosis has two stages, which is meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. Mitosis produces diploid cells. Meiosis produces haploid cells. Mitosis produces two identical daughter cells. Meiosis produces four genetically different daughter cells. Since this lesson is all about reproduction, we need to understand reproductive health. As the body grows, it attains sexual maturity, which is a slow, gradual process. Sexual maturity is the capability of an individual to reproduce. It is synonymous with adulthood. In human beings, puberty may mean sexual maturation, but it is based on cultural definitions. Further, attaining puberty does not mean the mind is ready for sexual acts. So, it is necessary to keep the mind steady by not allowing pressure from friends or family to enter into sexual acts or marriage until the right time. For this, the Government of India has fixed the legal age of marriage for boys at the age of 21 years and for girls at the age of 18 years. It is our social responsibility to follow this rule in order to contribute to a healthy society. Furthermore, we need to be aware of sexually transmitted diseases. These include bacterial infections like gonorrhea and syphilis, viral infections such as HIV, which leads to AIDS. Unsafe sexual practices and contacts with multiple partners leads to these diseases. Therefore, we need to follow safe practices like sex with life partners only, avoiding sex with unknown partners or multiple partners, and following healthy life practices. At this point, it is important to understand HIV. It is a disease caused by the human immunodeficiency virus. It can spread by unhealthy sexual contacts. It can be transmitted via infected needles and infected blood transfusion, or it may be transmitted from an infected mother to the child during pregnancy. Illiteracy, poor health, unemployment, unsafe sexual practices are some of the factors contributing to the spread of HIV. This infection causes AIDS, which is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. The therapy to treat this infection is the antiretroviral therapy. Sexual act always has the potential to lead to pregnancy. And if the woman is not ready for it, the health of the woman will be affected. There are many ways to avoid pregnancy. So, prevention of pregnancy in women is by preventing fertilization, and this method is called contraception. The device or the chemical which is used to prevent pregnancy is called a contraceptive. Birth control methods can be of various types and it can be used by the male or the female partner. There are physical devices such as condoms for men and women. This prevents the reaching of the sperms to the ova for fertilization. The condom not only prevents fertilization but also can prevent sexually transmitted diseases like gonorrhea, syphilis, and AIDS. So, no other method of contraception provides protection against these sexually transmitted diseases. Chemicals in the form of pills can be introduced orally or into the vagina. These are hormones which will stop ovaries from releasing ovum into the oviducts. Nowadays, pills for males are also available. These pills kill sperms and therefore they are called spermicides. Devices which can be used are the intrauterine device called copper T. It is effective in preventing pregnancy, but it cannot protect the woman from acquiring sexually transmitted devices. So, copper T is a method of contraception for avoiding unwanted pregnancies. There are surgical methods for birth control. This is available for males as well as females. In males, a small portion of the vas deferens is cut and both ends are tied. This method is called vasectomy. In females, a small portion of the oviduct is cut and tied again. This prevents the ovum from entering into the oviducts. This is called tubectomy. So we need to fight against social ills also as responsible educated youth of the society. These social ills are the teenage motherhood and feticide, female feticide, against which we have to raise our voice.